I remember at one point he was saying he didn't want the padded desk. He just wanted a regular desk. I did not want that. In the end, the foam was attached to an actual desk. It landed somewhere between what he wanted and what we thought we were providing, which was, total protection. I'm Ari Aster, and I am apparently going to be breaking down some scenes from my movies.
No, they're your streets, Sheriff. They're your streets to keep safe. And where is your mask?
This is a scene from my first feature, Hereditary. So you got some fly VFX here. I wanted to just have hundreds of real flies accumulating in the attic. My first plan was to lock off the set and just leave some, rotting stuff in the room for like days. Just let the room become, permeated. I was disabused of the notion that that would be possible pretty quickly. Something to do with, I think PETA was involved. Fly wranglers are hard to come by. But we actually I did hire somebody to catch flies. And so we did let some flies into the room, but they didn't get it didn't do much. It just made the room unpleasant to be in. That was a real corpse. We cut off its head. It's not true. Sorry.
So really, Agamemnon had no choice. The plight of Nestra is driven by revenge.
I will say, I was kind of surprised by the time the film came out and people were telling me that the clucking was effective, because while we were shooting this, I just kept thinking like, this is not gonna fucking work. This is so silly. Alex basically went method for this film, and he really got into a pretty intense psychological space. He was definitely in a zone for this scene. And I think he's amazing in this scene in particular, especially in what is about to happen. For that, I think we, at first the idea, because I wanted it to feel unnatural, is we tied rope to his hand and tugged it up, but we found that it was even more effective when he just did it himself.
Peter, what's wrong? Peter, are you all right?
That push-in ended up working. I wasn't sure if it would, where we cant it off axis as we push in. There's a bit being done here with makeup with his lip and his eye, which we kind of artificially opened beyond what would seem natural. The rest of what we're seeing here is Alex just acting very well. Him going almost purple is not makeup, that's him.
Peter, what are you doing here?
In order to get that effect, we did that backwards. So had him press his face into the desk and then pull it back quickly. This, he actually did go into the table. I think his nose would be right around there. This is a padded table, so we put foam on the top to protect him, but I hadn't thought of the fact that, beneath the foam is still a table, so it's still solid beneath the foam. I think he did, unfortunately, hurt his nose, which was obviously not intentional. I don't think any permanent damage was done. I remember at one point he was saying he didn't want the padded desk. He just wanted a regular desk. I did not want that. In the end, because the foam was attached to an actual desk, it landed somewhere between what he wanted and what we thought we were providing, which was, total protection. Yeah, so, everybody reacting there didn't have to act much because Alex was actually doing that. Or rather, the reaction didn't take much acting. Yeah, Alex is great in this scene. He really gave it. I did write backstories for all of these characters, more than I ever have done since. I went a little crazy with the backstories, wrote like these 20-page biographies for each character. But with Alex, it was mostly us just talking about life and family and our own histories and just closer to therapy. Do we want to let him finish screaming? Yeah, there it is.
What's that?
That's not for us.
This is a scene from Midsommar, which was my second film.
I think you should not.
So they want her to go to Siv's house, but she's hearing noises in the temple, and she has a bad feeling about what's in there and feels compelled to investigate, and is about to discover that her boyfriend is in some sex ritual, and it'll be disturbing to her. So this is a Steadicam shot. Nice to have the light from the keyhole illuminating her eyes. I offered to provide something on the other side of that, but she didn't need it. Some people would request something there so that they're not just, acting, but she did not need it. So here again, we have a Steadicam shot. They have sort of an empathy-based language. They are all kind of like a hive mind. And so the idea was to have them kind of move in all together at once to support her and kind of whisk her away. Here we drift in. Nice to have the door framing this. Here we move into handheld, which is the only time we do this in the film. I try to only kick into handheld when the scene itself is kind of off balance. All of these actresses, well, most of them, we flew in from Sweden, and they are all accomplished theater, television, film actors. We were very lucky to have them. There was a lot of talk about this before we started shooting. Florence is not like a big crier, and she was very nervous about even taking on the part because she was just worried that she wouldn't be able to do these scenes. And by the time they came around, I don't know what she had done to prepare, but she was very ready. She was able to launch into this stuff. Whatever she was worried would be inaccessible to her was not. What the scene required was kind of laid out pretty clearly in the script. I remember there was an energy that morning among all of these women. They were nervous, but very excited. And, I think I maybe talked them through the cycle here. And she's going to crawl off the bed, try to crawl towards the exit. You're going to crowd her and kind of make her look into your eyes. You look into hers and just, follow her breathing and kind of train her to calm down by your breathing. And then the way that they launch into the crying is really strong and really moving to me and scary and strange. And I'm very proud of this scene, and I'm really proud of this cast. I think they are amazing. This is a heavily choreographed film. There's a lot of dance from actual dance sequences when they're all competing to become the May Queen. Movements they do and gestures to a sort of sign language that we've incorporated into the affect language. And the choreographer, Anna Vanuk, a really brilliant Swedish choreographer who was hugely helpful in this film, lent a lot of herself to this. Couldn't have done it without her. So I think altogether, we probably did It wasn't many. It was maybe 3 or 4 takes altogether because at a certain point they're just sapped. We set it up so that the first couple takes could be the prime ones. I'm pretty sure I was in the operator's ear there to move closer and then to move out, which is how we have that pullback. Their screaming there is meant to synchronize with the moaning, screaming that's happening in the sex ritual in the next scene. So we keep that tempo going over the cut. I really love this scene, and I really love these actresses.
And then just the spillover. 200-300 construction jobs ongoing.
This is from my new film, Eddington. This scene is one of the first scenes in the film, and it's the first time we will meet the mayor of Eddington, played by Pedro Pascal. We've just been introduced to Joaquin Phoenix's character, Joe Cross, who's the sheriff of Sevilla County. He's about to walk into frame.
You just let these guys build this whatever, this data complex, and then they up and close it down for whatever reason. We just gotta eat that?
No, there's clawbacks on everything.
They're talking about a hyperscale data complex that's tied to AI and how they can get that through and make it happen.
Gross receipt taxes, payback property. There's no wishing tech away. Whether we jump on the boat now or get bulldozed, these guys, they're bringing an actual infrastructure for a real future,
They're like what this neon sign does for the scene. It casts both of them in red light. This was an empty building that was not safe to even really stand in, and so we had to fortify the building itself and then and build the whole thing from scratch. One thing about this set that unfortunately is not clear in the film is we had a mural painted all across the bar that depicted the history of Eddington. And Ted Garcia's family, the Garcia family, has deep roots in Eddington. I just didn't anticipate how dark all the scenes would be and the fact that that mural is like completely invisible. So anyway, that's some work that, just kind of went out the window.
Can we count on your yay tomorrow?
What is the problem? Well, he's outside.
I had to lock the door to keep him outside. It's been a whole hour like this.
I can't understand you.
Yes, you can. He's disturbing the peace. Again, he's blocking the entrance.
I was pleasantly surprised how much chemistry Joaquin and Pedro had. They really liked each other, and they just had this like instant rapport, made each other laugh a lot. And this scene was actually difficult to get through because for whatever reason, they were very giggly. They were making each other laugh all night, and it was a tight night. So that was fun for a little bit.
What are you even doing in there? It's takeaway drinks only.
Those are town council members. That's essential business.
Well, you can't just call essential business whatever you want.
I like glass because it catches reflections, and that just makes any frame more interesting. What is that Borges quote? Mirrors are abominable because they multiply the number of men. So I like reflections, not for that reason, but I always think about that.
It's a city council meeting, wherever city council people congregate. It's the mayor's office if I'm inside.
Okay, then you are open, and you have a paying customer who's trying to...
He's aggressive, he's dangerous, he needs to be locked up.
Where would you have me send him? These are your streets.
No, they're
that
your
you locked
streets,
down.
Sheriff. They're your streets to keep safe. And where is your mask?
I don't...
Where's your...
He doesn't have a mask on! Shit!
You can sort of see the mural back here. And it continues here and goes over here. Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. Lodge, the homeless man, is played by Clifton Collins Jr., who's a great actor and was great in this. And yeah, he is kind of deliberately kind of sidelined all the way through the film. There's nobody who cares about him. He's not tied to anybody else. I don't want to give anything away, but he becomes important and at the same time remains expendable. Maybe that's saying too much.
He's coughing!
Okay.
No mask either with
All
this
right.
guy.
Well, I will say we shot Beau is Afraid with all those COVID protocols. It made the process of making that film so difficult. Even certain things like actors could not be within 3 feet of each other for longer than 15 minutes cumulatively over the day. And you'd have somebody with a stopwatch, so every take that, it goes 4 minutes and actors are, within that bubble. Like, that's, okay, you've got 11 minutes now over the whole day, and then it's over. This would have been a perfect movie to make in 2021 when we made Beau, because everybody was masked up. Anyway. He's also got a Young Guns 2 poster, and I think that says a lot about Ted. Up here, you've got winners of the Miss Fiesta competition. It's a beauty competition. I'll tell you what, this is the kind of thing that I would do myself, that me and the art team would do. But the Truth or Consequences Museum, and we shot this film in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, had an exhibit for the past winners. Those were just priceless. So we actually borrowed those from the museum. Well, yeah, the scene continues, but you're gonna have to buy a ticket and go watch it.